Hi, and welcome to King's Football Show. This is the match reaction for Leeds United versus Arsenal. I'm supposed to have a guest with me, but as you know, with T, he's always late. But yeah, what can I say? Arsenal are on top of the league. Liverpool managed to beat Man City, so that was a good result for us as well. So we are now 4 points clear of Man City and Tottenham. So, how is everyone doing? I hope all of you are well. And yeah, this was probably our toughest game so far this season. I think uh, I think we were okay in first half. First half was okay. Second half was not very good, and we showed some resilience. We showed some character. We show courage, and sometimes that's what you need to do. We won't play amazing in every game. We won't play fantastic in every game. But I think we showed today that we are not here to joke, and hopefully we can pick up some more wins. And overall, um, I'm 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 okay. I know that not every game is gonna be like the Tottenham game. I know that every game is not going to be like the Liverpool game or the Bournemouth game, but if you want to have a successful season, if you want to win trophies, if you want to get into that top four, you need to be able to win games even when you're not playing at your best. And that was impressive to see today. And here it is, the man himself, my brother, my co-host. How you doing, fam?
Big up my brother King. It's been a long time since we've been doing it, since we've been here on the stream together. And you know what? One thing that hasn't changed is Arsenal being top of the league.
Yeah, and long may it continue. Long may it continue. I
Oh,
know that a lot of fans can't stand the fact that we are winning, we're doing well, we're top of the league. So it's amazing. I'm so happy. And I love that picture, by the way.
gotta have Gabriel, man. This is what we're gonna have to be doing tonight. Doing a lot of defending for Gabriel because he's been doing a lot of defending for us, but taking a lot of slander, bro.
Yeah, and it's I'm so happy because I did a show on Gabriel so yesterday,
Yes.
uh, and I'm so happy that he showed people that he's still one of the best center backs in the league, that he's
Yeah.
still a quality center back, and there's a reason why he's gone from being an unknown player to being an international player, playing for Brazil, playing for Arsenal, and he's a quality center back. Yes, he's had uh, some few shaky moments this season, but I think even in those games, he's played well. It isn't like it's not like he's playing badly and making mistakes. And I think it's a difference. And I think people can't separate that. Like one moment, like Saliba, for example, today, he had two shaky moments. He had that
Yeah.
heavy touch and he had that handball. But that doesn't mean that he had a bad game. It's just that he had two isolated, shaky moments. And it's part of football.
Yep, exactly that. And that, as you said right there, bro, it is a part of football, and you have to go through difficult moments, and you have to learn, and you have to make these errors. It's like I was mentioning this to Wilf.
Yeah.
These guys at a combined age at centre back, what they're doing is
Yeah.
ridiculous. It's what
Yeah.
are they? What 20, 45
Yeah.
each,
Something like that.
which is ridiculous.
Yeah, and then you had like Bonucci and Cellini, like almost 80 years, like almost the double. So it's like
Exactly,
people don't take
exactly
things
that.
into context. And this is their first season together as well. They've never played together. Like people
Yeah.
don't take that into context. It's a new back line. It's a new team. Even
Mm.
Zinchenko is new into the back line. Saliba is new into the back line. Ben White is new as right back to that back line. So it's been a lot of changes.
Yeah,
for Gabriel. He's had multiple partners since he joined Arsenal, and fair play to him, man.
exactly. And even when heard fans at times call for, maybe we should try putting Ben White in at centre back and let's move Tommy
Mm.
Asu. I think, you know what, I'm not going to hate on that because I think there will be a point that that might happen when we do need to give Gabriel rest or rotation. But
Yeah,
for right now, if unless you have to do that, I think it's you cannot go without it because centre backs, it's all about partnerships. You got one in Saliba who's going to be a bit more passive, conservative, who likes to read the game a little bit better, who I think is better at reading the game and better at sweeping and doing
yeah,
those things there. But I think Gabriel is much better at being aggressive. He's
yeah,
strong. He's stronger. I like him and how he closed down spaces. His passing is improving. I feel like that's happening game by game as well, which is something a point that you brought out about his game overall that needs improvement.
yeah,
And when I heard since I've seen you say that, I have seen the weaknesses in his areas in doing that and playing out of the back under pressure and taking less touches to move us forward. Which you can see the contrast in Saliba, and he plays those sharp passes direct, and it's also about the quality of pass as well, making sure that your teammate can take it on the half turn, or if they can play it off first time. Like he needs to improve in that aspect, but I'm seeing that development, and he's still very young, as you've said right there. Great example with Bonucci and Chiellini, and they're going to grow together. And I'm very happy with our team overall, let alone Gabriel and Saliba.
yeah. I mean, look, we're top of the league. We've won, what is it, like 8 out of 9 games. We have
9 out of 10.
no 9 out
Yeah,
of 10 games. Sorry, you see,
yeah.
it's been so many wins that lost count. 9 out of 10, 27 points out of 30. We've won 3 out of 3 games in the Europa League. We're having a fantastic season, and I'm just gonna show here Gabriel's numbers today. So
Look at that.
100% in area duels won,
Bang.
90% pass accuracy, 80 touches, 9 duels contest, 8 duels won, 4 clearances, 4 blocks, 3 tackles, 3 interceptions, 1 shot, and 0 red
Mhm.
cards for the banter. But as you can see, he had an amazing game, and I just want people to understand that he's a quality centre back. And yes, we want him to improve, and yes, he can and will improve. And yes, when he makes mistake, we can talk about it. But let's not forget how good he is. And I'm so happy that he played well today because I
Yeah.
knew even if you look at Twitter when they first gave him that red card, if you look at the reaction
Oh,
towards him, like it was like all of a sudden everybody forgot that he had a good game, and it was like, oh, we need to get rid of him. He can't be
mm.
playing anymore. What's he doing? But really, he didn't do anything. Like,
Even from our good friend Crab, even
yeah,
from him, I
yeah,
saw what he
Crab.
was saying.
I saw your comment there, Crab. Very reactionary.
Exactly, Crab. If you're watching this back later, sorry, man, we need to talk, bro, because this there's been a lot of slander overall, not just from Crab, but a lot of Arsenal fans, and very reactionary and call and this Bozo gene that I keep hearing about him.
Yeah, nah, 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 that needs to stop. That
It
needs to
does need
stop.
to.
I even saw a comparison from Nippon with Harry Maguire, and I was like, nah, come on, come on.
Let's stop this narrative, man.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
as fans, we always like to try and scapegoat and try and find something and find an area that we are, that we can improve in. That's not the same area that a manage that Mikel Arteta or the coaching staff will be looking at. They'll be
yeah,
looking at improving in that area in terms of depth, not to replace Gabriel, but to
yeah.
build around him.
Yeah, 100%. And that's what you want. You want competition, you want quality, you want to see players fighting for places, as we see with Sinchenko and Tierney,
Mm,
Tomiyasu, Ben White. Like that's what we want through the whole team, and we see that they raise their game. Tierney's raised his game, Sinchenko's raised his game, Ben White has raised his game, and that's what we want to continue to see. We want players to compete for places, and we don't want them to feel like, you know, it doesn't matter how well or how bad I play, I'm
yeah.
always gonna start.
And yeah, we make excuses for players as well sometimes as fans when we say, and sometimes it's not excuses, sometimes it's truth that
Yeah,
are like, for example, Saka at the start of the season. A lot of
yeah,
people were saying, the reason why we're not seeing the level of Saka previously is because he has no
yeah,
competition on that right
yeah,
hand side. But what about that for Gabriel? He's got no competition in a left
yeah,
sided centre back spot because we don't have
yeah.
another left footed centre back.
Yeah, we don't. And it's good that you mentioned Saka because I remember after United game we said that he's
Mm.
really turned his season. He's playing well, and people were saying, "Nah, it's not playing well." But come on, how many games
Exactly.
now?
How
How
many
many
games?
goals? How many assists?
We're
Like,
talking, and we're usually, King. This is the best part about it. I know it sounds big headed, but we're usually right. We definitely
yeah,
get things wrong, but we're
yeah,
usually
yeah,
right because we look at it from a not from
yeah.
an
We don't have any
emotional.
agendas. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just we just analyze what we see and we take it from there, man. And big up to everyone that's tuned in today. Big up Black and Blanco.
you got
Yeah,
being
three
beat.
points. Big up Luke as well. And big up Luke. Luke is saying, even gentlemen, I can't even give any player rating as I didn't see the game, but apparently we were fortunate to win. Are you concerned with our last two performances? And what I will say, Luke, is that we have to remember, yeah, we played a lot of tough games in a very short period. So we played against Spurs, we played against Liverpool, we played two games against Bodo, and another away game against Leeds. So I'm
Mm,
not concerned at all. I feel like we need to take things into context. So in a full season, you won't play well every game. You won't have high energy every game. But in those games where the energy is a bit lower, when you don't play amazingly, you need to make sure that you don't lose.
yeah,
And we showed character today. We were there up for the fight. And in the end, yes, we had luck, but winners need luck as well. Like if you want to achieve something special, you will need luck as well as part of it. And big up TGN as well.
just to add to that point, you're 100% spot on in that sense. And what we need to remember is those games that you mentioned, the two against Spurs and Liverpool, they're
Yeah,
high emotion games, which will
yeah,
drain a lot of emotion out of the side.
yeah,
Even in wins and losses, it takes
yeah,
a massive hit on the emotional side. And to be able to, in a short space of time, travel away to Bodo Glimt,
yeah,
difficult place to win at, by the way.
yeah,
I don't think there's enough made about that, even though the performance wasn't great. And then going
yeah,
on a short turnaround with one training session to Leeds. Once again, another difficult place to go. We saw Chelsea get turned over there. Jesse
yeah,
March really has them organised and set up and playing. But to go and take the win, yeah, it's not. If this is a cup final, if this isn't what we're going to be judging Arsenal season on. We're going to have more of these moments throughout the season, but it's all
yeah,
about the result. And if you can, we can't criticize Arsenal for winning whilst playing bad when we talk about their character a lot of the time. When if things aren't going their way, Arsenal fold. Arsenal don't know how to grind and grit their teeth together and get the result. So we have to be quite fair in our analysis. But as you say, Luke, last thing as well, if this happens for next two games in a row, then
yeah.
maybe you can start to worry. But for now, just take it and move on.
100%. I agree. I agree. And yeah, let's move on to player rating. Let me get the screen up for it. It's gonna be interesting to hear your views on the players and if we share them because it was a special game today.
Yeah.
So I think on this one we might agree. Let's start with Aaron Ramsdale. What would you give him? I think he had a strong game.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm going for a man of the match performance for Aaron Ramsdale.
Yeah,
A lot has been spoken about him as well. Talking about he's not been at the level he was when he first came. I think that's a little bit of a myth as well.
yeah,
Because he came by surprise to a lot of Arsenal fans with how his performances were and the elements that we saw in his game. I still think they've been excellent. His kicking throughout the back has been good. Distribution, he's claiming from crosses was massive again today.
yeah.
So for me, man of the match performance, what's that, a 10 we're giving him?
No, it's not a 10. It's just the man of the match.
Oh, yeah, 9,
Yeah,
I'd say.
Yeah, yeah. And I think again, like people don't take things into context. He had a hip injury last season, and that's when his form
Yeah,
kind of dipped. And
definitely.
hips are so important for goalkeepers. So I think it's good to see him at his best again. It's good for him to keep a clean sheet. I know it means a lot to Aaron Ramsdale. So he gets the man of the match, but it is an 8.
Yeah.
It is. Let's move on to Ben White. What would you
Oh,
give him?
do you know what?
Yeah.
Throughout most of these player ratings, you're gonna have to help me for the second half because I was out and
Okay.
about and that. But from what because I saw the whole first half and right.
Yeah.
So for the fact throughout the first half,
Yeah.
he was good. He was neat and tidy in possession.
Yeah.
He was. I think this is one of those Ben White. He doesn't give you lower than a 7 performance, but not really any higher than that for my from what I saw in the first half. So I'm going to say 7. What would you say?
Yeah. I would give him. I would probably give him a 6. I think
Right.
first half he was definitely a 7. In the second half he was struggling a bit, and they were attacking us more on both sides. To be
Right.
fair, and Sinistera had some momentum against him, but he wasn't poor. But I will give him. I'll probably give him a 6.
Yeah, that's fair
So
enough. Do you think that's anything that we might need to, just to play devil's advocate, might need to consider in the future when coming up against a winger like Sinistera away from home? Or
I think it was more the balance in the midfield that was wrong in the second half. We got overrun by Leeds, and they created spaces, and that's why they got momentum on the wings. I
yeah,
feel like other than that, I do feel like Ben White can deal with pacey and tricky wingers. I think he's shown that this season.
yeah, true.
He's faced
Zaha,
some of the best. He's faced Saha, faced Son, he's faced Salah. Oh no, it
that's
wasn't Salah. It was Diaz and Jota. So I think he's good enough. The only thing is obviously maybe in certain games we might want someone who's more attacking. I mean, if we want someone who's more defensive, we always have Tomiyasu who can play there. The
yeah.
only thing is attacking wise, maybe Cedric in some games could could do. And
Mm,
I know a lot of Arsenal fans don't rate him. Doesn't mean that I think Cedric is amazing, but I do think when we play our first team in certain games, if we want some more attacking runs from the right back, maybe Cedric could do, a second half sub, maybe
yeah.
20 minutes, half an hour sub, something like that.
Yeah, rotation's going to have to be massive at some point in the season, especially when after the World Cup, when players are going to be a little bit more fatigued, and
Yeah,
the FA Cup, and if we're deep into the Carabao Cup at that stage, we're going to need to rely upon the likes of Cedric, I believe.
yeah. What do you make of William Saliba? This is going to be interesting because,
Right.
as I mentioned before, he had two moments. So he had that heavy touch that led
Yeah.
to an opportunity for Leeds, and obviously he had that handball situation where they got the penalty.
Yeah. This is Saliba though for you with how he plays the game.
Yeah,
If it we are very on the edge with our defending how we do a lot of the times, and I think Saliba typifies that. If you're if you make a decision or if you're not quite at it for a split second, you can end up with egg on your face.
yeah,
So I think this is, once again, he's played a lot of games. He played away at Bodo Glimt, and then
yeah,
he was also had to travel to Leeds as well.
yeah,
I think this is just a little bit of lacking in concentration at points, and that kind of takes me back to the Liverpool second goal where he's misread it, he's misread the situation, and that's given the space to Firmino. So yeah, I think you know what, still young, he'll get into that consistency. I'm expecting mistakes when I was expecting that for Saliba throughout this season and even next season, I'd say. And you know what, maybe up until he's about 25 is when I expect him to eradicate them. But for now, you can still see the quality he has. So
Yeah,
I'd
I mean,
say,
on the ball, he still had a solid game on the ball. He had some good tackles as well
yeah,
and some good blocks. It's not like he was poor, but
yeah,
we if we don't talk about them moments, it's gonna look like we haven't, that we are biased because we
yeah,
like
yeah,
him so much.
exactly. So yeah, I'd probably say a 6. It's not his best game, and this
Yeah,
is how highly I rate William Saliba.
yeah, yeah. I think 6 is fair. We do we did keep a clean sheet as well. Let's not forget that even though it was a shaky
True.
game, we did keep a clean sheet. So what I've done is I've given White a 7 because I think White still had a better game than Saliba. So
Yeah,
White 7, Saliba 6.
that's fair.
Yeah. Let's move on to Gabriel, who for me was my man of the match, but I understand why you gave it to Ramsdale.
Yeah,
I think Gabriel had a very strong game today. He was physical. His passing was good. His clearances, blocks, like he was solid today, and I was happy to see him back to his best. I don't know if you agree.
definitely. These games are. This is the thing, right? This is what we need as in a team. You
Yeah,
need guys that are able to suit different atmospheres and different occasions throughout the game. We needed grit and determination in this one, and physicality in a very small, compact stadium against a lead side who were very intense. And that's what
yeah,
he's going to give you. He'll match that at least. At the minimum, he'll match that, and he usually goes above. Gabriel, he is a defender and he is a no nonsense defender first. And
yeah,
this is where, you know what, this is why I really rate him and why I
yeah,
give him a lot of respect and praise. And you know what, I probably do look after him a little bit more because I
yeah,
know because those style of defenders are more prone to, people making fun of, and
yeah,
if they get it a split wrong, a split second, they look
yeah,
more silly and they can
yeah,
get red
yeah,
cards
yeah,
more.
yeah. Because the movement doesn't look elegant like a Saliba. He
Yeah,
kind of almost remind me like Matip for Liverpool. He doesn't get the same credit or status as Van Dijk, even though sometimes he's better or have had even a better season than Van Dijk. So
spot
yeah,
on.
I hear that. I hear that.
That's what you're saying, a 9 or an 8 ish.
I'll give him.
Do you know what? I'm happy to concede
Yeah.
Ramsdale, move him down and put Gabriel up. I'm
Ah,
happy.
thank you. So we give him a 9 then. Man of the match, Gabriel. He was definitely the best defender today, and we needed his physicality today. That's why they subbed off Rodrigo. He couldn't. People forget that they subbed off Rodrigo because he couldn't get anything out of the game, and they put Bamford in, and he was trolling so much that he had to dive.
Exactly. Exactly that.
Yes, yes, yes. So yeah, Tomiyasu.
See, he had another shaky moment as well, didn't he? Tommy
Yeah,
Atsu.
yeah,
Um yeah, I think it was an interesting decision that Arteta made starting him in this game. Me personally, I understood exactly why, and he deserves massive credit and praise for the starting
yeah,
against Liverpool. We saw what Salah did today, and
yeah, yeah,
against his opposition, his left back in Ake.
yeah,
But yeah, I wasn't entirely impressed. I thought he looked a bit shaky on the ball today, Tomiyasu,
yeah,
and I give him a lot of credit with that because of the way he can play with both feet. And yeah, it wasn't his best game for me. I would say a 6.
yeah. Yeah, I agree. I would say a 6. I think Tomiyasu played today because Tierney played on Thursday, and the
Yeah,
turnaround was just too fast. And then we're gonna go again to PSV. So I think that's
if
probably,
yeah, exactly. If Zinchenko was fit in this game, do you
yeah.
think
Zinchenko
Arteta would have
plays.
started him?
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
Mm-mm.
Because he's gonna want to dominate the ball, uh, and he knows that Leeds gonna be aggressive and press us. And we could see today we actually missed Zinchenko today. It's good that you mentioned that
Yeah,
because remember at the start of the stream I told you that we got overrun in midfield,
exactly.
and I think that had a lot to do with Sinchenko not being there like an extra man helping us.
Yeah. And how, and even in building up the play and just slowing it down in those moments where you need to, um,
Yeah,
and just calming everything, the situation, and taking the sting out of the game. I think we missed that with Zinchenko's presence.
yeah, 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 yeah. And he's saying here Saliba unlucky with the handball and one heavy touch aside was immense at times. Yeah, I mean, and this is it. But we just have to be fair because let's say it was Gabriel, then it
Hmm.
would be oh another mistake by Gabriel. They got a penalty. We were lucky they didn't score. So we're just being fair. Like we love Saliba. He's a fantastic player, fantastic talent. He had a good game, but he had two incidents where they, if we were unlucky, they could have scored from both, and we lose this game. And then no one is saying that he's getting a 7.
Yeah,
So that's it. But it's always interesting to hear your thoughts, guys. Don't be afraid to put in your own ratings and your own thoughts about your ratings. We will listen to them for sure.
exactly.
Let's
Even though B&B, he don't like it. We could go for a 6.5, but B&B doesn't like point fives.
you
So
see. So yeah, let's move into midfield. The general himself, Thomas Partey, strong first half, poor second half.
yeah,
Do you
this is where I
agree?
need you to help me for the second half with Thomas
Oh
Partey
yeah,
because I didn't actually get to notice him much. But what I was saying for the first half,
yeah,
he was a calming presence and he was
yeah,
allowing us to move the ball forward a lot
yeah.
in that first. But what about the second, bro? I need you to
Jesse
tell me.
Marsch was very smart in second half, so he put two men on Partey.
Okay.
So they didn't allow him to breathe. They didn't allow him to be calm. So he lost possession a few times. They overrun him a few times, and this is where I felt like today would have been perfect to put in like an El Neni to
Mm,
play beside him in the second half just to steady the ship and have someone who's calm. And even Zinchenko would have been good to have in this game, but
yeah.
we didn't. And I felt like Arteta probably didn't trust Sambi Lokonga to come in to partner him.
Yeah.
So yeah, over. I think this was Partey's worst game this season,
Mm,
and I'm gonna have to give him a 5. We were lucky to not concede from him.
yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't entirely his fault. I just felt like the structure of the team and the midfield was not there today.
Yeah, we have to be aware of that as well, though, because there are a lot of decent sides in this Premier League, and they'll see that, and they'll see that this is Thomas Partey's worst game, and see what Jesse Marsh has done, as you said right there, put two next to him. So we'd have to be. We're not going to always have Zinchenko, especially if he's suffering with this calf issue, and then he's not going to be back until after the World Cup. And we've
Yeah,
got tough games against Chelsea coming up, so this is something we're going to have to be aware of, and Arteta's going to have to make a tactical tweak.
yeah,
In
100%. Does and let's. It's gonna be interesting to see how he deals with it
Yeah,
because so far we've been quite lucky.
yeah. With Douglas Louise looking like it's out the window now, are there
Yeah,
any targets that you would look to compete or be able to play with Partey in that position that you got in mind?
maybe the only one. There are two players in mind, and one is probably not realistic in Bruno Guimaraes, and the other is probably Danilo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I like that. I like where you're going with it though.
yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
maybe in the summer,
yeah.
possibly.
Maybe in the summer, if he doesn't renew his contract and we put in a big bid and Edu does his talking and maybe and we have a very strong season, maybe he will join us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
possibly. Things can change in football very quickly, can't they? So
yeah, we've seen it with Douglas Lewis.
exactly.
Yeah,
Literally a month ago, he looked like he was
yeah,
coming to
uh,
us.
exactly. And now he's staying at Villa.
Yeah,
Yeah,
true. So
I'm a
yeah,
bit surprised, even if we were not interested in him anymore. I'm surprised that he didn't because I think he only had like 8 9 months left on his contract.
yeah, exactly. A lot of teams in and around Europe, top teams, at
Yeah,
least would have been interested in him. And you know,
yeah,
that's not even just in the Premier League. I
no,
think Liverpool were interested in him as well in the transfer window. I'm sure they wouldn't mind taking a punt on him.
yeah,
You think of Serie A, they love a free transfer.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so yeah, I mean, and I'm sure he would have liked Italy, but looks like Alicia Lehman's done her work.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
uh,
Let's move on to probably the most improved player in Premier League, Granit Xhaka. What did you make of his game today?
my captain once again. He gives you. He's like this the calmness throughout the team. Even
Yeah,
when you saw him with Gabriel when he was having a little bit of word, and how
yeah,
crazy is that to say about Granit Xhaka being the calmness in the
yeah. I
team?
know it's crazy, it's crazy, but he's grown so much.
Yeah,
Even as a leader, he's grown a lot, Granit.
yeah,
And
he's thrived being one of the big characters, and he's done that at Switzerland throughout his whole time there because of the level he's been at, and he's been at a higher level than a lot of players in and around. And with Arsenal, with since I think this is where as fans we don't really we know about these things, but we don't really look at the importance of things like wage bill and wage structure.
yeah,
Because with Xhaka now, he's one of the highest paid players, one of
yeah,
in the club, and he gets to carry that responsibility. And he's one of the players that you would prefer being the highest paid because he takes responsibility
100%.
rather than hides
And he
away from
doesn't
it.
hide. You can say whatever you want. Shaka never hides.
Mm.
If we're winning, we're losing, he never hides. If it's tough, if it's going well, he never hides. If it's time to be controversial, he will still be there.
Yeah. What would you
Yeah.
say about him in the second half whilst things were going well, whilst things weren't going well?
I think in the second half, I think Ateta probably should have told him to drop 15, 20 meters. He did that in the end, but I think he should have dropped earlier.
Yeah.
So I'll probably give him a 7
Mm,
today. Yeah,
yeah.
he was all right. He was all right. I think this is, sometimes in certain games you just need a different type of player, and we didn't have that player on the bench today. That's
Yeah.
that's the truth.
That's one of the things we need to address, like when we get maybe this January or in the summer,
Yeah,
is to have those different options that will allow us to carry out different like strategies and tactics and those things. And well, not really tactics because we're going to stick to our principles, and that's where I'd say
yeah,
Arteta he'd be reluctant to drop him back in that
yeah,
sense
yeah,
because
yeah,
we
yeah,
still should try and impose our game, but
yeah.
so yeah, it's about finding that balance of adapting to your opponent but not taking away from your strengths, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Smith Rowe could have done in this game. Could have done with him being very direct and a threat. And
Yeah,
I think the longer the season goes, we might see more of Fabio Vieira as well.
yeah, as he gets a bit better in terms of his defensive awareness and his positioning in and out of
Yeah,
the ball. I think yeah, as he grows, we might see Fabio Vieira in those moments. You're right.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's move on to the captain, Odegaard, who had a great assist to Saka's goal. Again, another assist,
Yeah,
but he
bro.
was very up and down in this game. It's 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 very hard to judge Odegaard in this game because he had moments where you'd be like, ah, he's such a silky player, and then
Yeah.
he had moments where he kind of lost possession a bit too easy today,
Yeah, man, and that's
sloppy with
exactly what
passing.
happened in that first half as well, bro. In that first half, like there was some passes that he was playing, and once
Yeah,
again, I'm so much. This is what Erdegaard is elite at, man. Is timing and quality of pass, and how
yeah,
he make and how he allows you as the teammate to do what you need to do in a swift movement. Some of the
yeah,
passes he was playing, the pass for the goal,
yeah,
and even before that, it was phenomenal. But you hit the exact nail on the head in terms of that also happened where he would lose the ball in a duel or take one too many touches when he didn't need to. And
yeah,
we have to remember as well, like I get in trouble by Moss for saying this when I talk
yeah.
about Erdegaard, but you have to. He's not the finished article. He's nowhere
No,
near it. He's not. Well, he's a very very good player, but he's not the finished article. He's not. He's This is where the level we expect Erdegaard to play at week in week out. Like he can get beyond this, and
yeah,
as he once again as he gets used to Jesus's movement, I'm sure we'll talk to him about him a little bit
yeah,
more.
yeah,
As you know, you start to build that real synergy in positions and where players are, like how he has that with Saka.
yeah.
Then he'll be able to do things a lot quicker because he definitely has the brain for it. It's just
And
sometimes he overthinks it a little bit.
yeah, he does. He does. He does. He does. So I think today I'll give him a 6 because he did great that chance where we scored, which
Mm,
was important for us. So I'll give him a 6 today. But he definitely is not a finished article, and you can tell that in the next two seasons, that's probably when you're gonna see prime Erdegaard,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
and I'm looking forward to it because he's a good player. He has a lot of qualities. He brings a lot to the team, but again, he's young. He's getting to learn his teammates and the
And
new
learning that,
way of playing and the Premier League and himself. So
and the responsibility as well, being the captain.
yeah, being the captain, exactly, it's a lot.
Mm.
Let's move on to Gabriel Martinelli.
I didn't actually think it was his greatest game today. Like
No,
things weren't working for him. And he'll always, once again, with Gabriel Martinelli, he'll get
yeah,
away with these things because of how hard he works, and he'll always be a crowd pleaser in that sense. But
yeah,
when because I'm quite harsh on Martinelli because I've got real high expectations of him, and when things don't go well,
yeah,
we have to talk about it because he is a moments player that can give you those moments, but he will work hard for the team. I do think he is improving in his ball retention. That was my
yeah,
one area for Martinelli is he tries a little too hard at
yeah,
times, and
yeah,
it puts our teammates and it puts us under a little bit of pressure because we have to go and win the ball back. But yeah, things weren't quite working out, and I thought Leeds managed him well today.
yeah. They did, they did. I think he's tired. He played the Liverpool game, then he played the Bodo Glimt game, and then he
Yeah.
played this game as well. And he's a high energy player. And unfortunately, Smith Rowe is out, and Marquinhos is still getting used to it, and Nelson has been injured for a very long time. So we don't really have a replacement for him right
Mm.
now.
It's a good point, bro. It's a good point.
Mm.
In fact, we've because we was kind of relying before the season started,
Yeah,
Smith Rowe and Martinelli. At least we've got some depth there and some
yeah,
rotation.
yeah. And then unfortunately, Smith Rowe, he had that surgery and growing issues. That's
Which,
it. So I
which
give, yeah,
oh yeah, what was you going to give him? And then I'll ask you
a
a
five.
question. Five.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
give him a five. Yeah,
right. This is the question now.
yeah,
Given the fact that in January, when the January window comes, we're not gonna be pretty sure. We don't really know what the physical condition of
mm,
Mohamed El Neni will be, but we know we'll be close, not far from returning to fitness.
yeah.
If you could only make one signing for one area of the pitch, where are you going for?
Attacking,
Yeah,
attacking, 100%. Because I do feel like we have more bodies and options in midfield. So we still have Sambi Lokonga who can play there.
yeah,
You know, we still have Sinchenko who can play there. We've got Granit who can play there. Like right now in attack, we are very reliant on our front trio, and Eddie doesn't get a lot of minutes as well. So
mm,
that tells me that Arteta really, I not trust is not the right word, but I feel like probably maybe he doesn't feel like Eddie's there yet,
yeah,
if that makes sense.
yeah, yeah.
Because
At
even
this,
today, yeah, let's move on to Jesus. I felt like Jesus today wasn't 100%,
hmm
and I would have subbed him off after first half,
Definitely.
and I felt like because Jesus is one of them players. Even if he is not scoring goals, usually he's very involved in the build up, in the link up. But he was anonymous today. This was his worst game for Arsenal, and it's okay. He can have bad games, but I felt like these are the games where we gave Eddie that shirt number, we gave him that contract. These are the games where would love to see him get a chance, a real chance. If he's your guy and you trust him, put him in half time. Let him get 45 minutes. Let him prove to you, as he did last season, that he can play in the Prem.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
I,
yeah.
I,
What would you give Jesus, by the way?
I like that shout. I like this because this is a big thing now for Arteta because you got everything about player management in this and managing morale. Eddie is going to be looking at that and saying, right, Jesus is not at the level that he has been. I can accept, I'm not going to be happy, but I can accept not playing. But now,
Yeah,
where he wasn't playing great, and you could tell this is why he wasn't carried over to Norway.
yeah,
He
yeah,
might be struggling with a little bit of fatigue. There might be something to do with that concussion because
yeah,
sometimes you can get a delayed onset one where
yeah,
the concussion affects you with 48 hours after the incident. So because he was good against Liverpool after that area, but the fact that he was face down, knocked out, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
so that kind of said a lot to me. But you're right, man. Eddie, he needs to be able to come in these games, and I like Eddie, and I think he can. He did it against Leeds last season, for goodness sakes. Right?
yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like last season, when Laka wasn't up for it anymore, we brought him in, and he was good for us.
Yeah,
And if he can play at that level, that's good enough to be number two for now. That doesn't
definitely.
mean that we can't improve on him in the future. That doesn't mean we shouldn't try to get a better striker. But I think for now, give him some more minutes.
Yeah, 100%. It's true, and this is where the question is going to be. He'll definitely play against PSV. We know that.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but the question is, what about if Jesus, if he does have like this, if he plays similar to how he did today
yeah,
against who Southampton away next in the
yeah,
Premier League,
yeah,
will Eddie get that next chance then?
yeah, yeah. Exactly, exactly. That's the thing. What would you give Jesus rating? Because I felt like he was the worst outfield player today.
Yeah. Oh, because we won. I don't know if we can go anywhere below a 5, but I'm sticking
Yeah,
in there
yeah,
with Partey and Erdegaard.
yeah, yeah. I think that makes sense. Give him a five.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
If we draw on that, then
yeah,
maybe it's a little bit different.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I get that. If we've drawn or we've lost, then obviously player rating goes down. But we did win, so we
Yeah,
give him a five. But a five for Jesus is different from a five for someone else, and it's the
exactly.
same with Partey. Like them playing at five means that they've been poor because we used to them being at a seven at minimum and lots of eights and nines and tens. So
Yeah. And if you have a look at those three players right there, bro,
yeah,
they are
yeah,
probably our three most important players in how this Arsenal team functions right now. So
yeah,
this makes sense to why we didn't have a good performance today.
100%, 100%. And let's move on to Starboy. They were trying to put paint on him. They were trying to drag him down, but once again, he's shown his quality.
Exactly. One of the last shows we did together,
Yeah,
we was talking about the Man United thing, and there was a
yeah,
lot of questions surrounding Saka pre that
yeah,
game.
yeah,
I think he's showing it now. He's got the end product. He's got the everything that we need from him, and the level hasn't dipped from him. There's no tiredness that we're seeing from him.
yeah,
It's literally he's scoring goals and he's adding assists to it now. That's the difference because
yeah,
the same thing is where he's getting double teamed. Thought Leeds in the first half they did the best that they could with Strauch and Mark Rocker coming over and trying to support and try and really tighten up those spaces so we can't get linking up with Erdegaard. But that finish, bro, that
Yeah,
fin-
quality,
it's,
quality.
it's beautiful. And
He's
did you see that
he's so
moment
good.
as well
Yeah,
before that
yeah,
goal when we was playing it through out of
yeah.
pressure? It
No,
started from the back, and it all came through. Oh man, that would have been a great goal if that had worked out.
yeah. It would. It would. That would probably goal of the season, man. Oh,
Yeah,
it was
man.
so annoying because first the ref let the game go, and when we actually had a good chance, that's when he blew it, and I was like, "Come on, ref,
Yes, that's
why
it.
are you
Yeah,
doing
when
that?"
Jesus, when he
Yeah,
could have released that earlier anyway.
yeah.
You're right.
Good, good. But that's Jesus for you as well. Sometimes he loves to keep the ball. But yeah, Saka, I'll give him an 8. Do you agree?
Definitely, I
Yeah,
agree. Big moment. He turned
yeah,
up for it, and he worked hard, and he was a threat, constant threat.
yeah. It was, it was. Big up to Bukayo, man. I'm so happy for you turning it around and showing people how good you are. We love to
Exactly.
see it, and long may it continue.
So,
And then
so
I think the
oh,
first sub was Fabio Vieira, right? I think he
yeah, you're
came
gonna
in
have
for
to help me
Odegaard.
on these subs,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah. So Vieira came in for Odegaard. It's just a standard 5 for me. He didn't impact the game. He wasn't poor, but he didn't do anything amazing. I think Tierney came in for Ben White a few minutes later. Tierney was all right. You know, he was steady at the back, so give him a standard 5 as well. Because they played so little, it's hard to give them higher ratings. And
Mm,
Eddie Eddie and Rob Holding came on the 87, 85th, around the 80th minute. They both came on. So I'll give them all a standard 5.
yeah,
Uh, yeah,
it's hard in that game state as well to come on and try and make an impact.
is really hard, especially when you're away from home and the crowd and everyone,
Yeah,
and they had momentum. They had momentum for sure. And Luke
definitely.
is seeing 4 goals and 4 assists so far in the Premier League. I think he had like 12 goals and 7 assists last season. So hopefully he smashes last season number. Yeah, I think he will. I think Bukayo has that, in him where he's that confident and he's that serious that he will keep on improving and he wants more. And you can see that when he take those penalties, he's not afraid. He don't care about the pressure. He'll do it, and I'm sure I wouldn't be surprised if you get double figures in both assists and goals this season.
Mm, definitely, yeah, man. Because with how he is, he's looking. He had those chances in those games where people were criticizing him a lot, and he didn't take them. And that's where it's kind of crazy how goals and assists can really make you have a different perspective on players because he was playing exactly those in the same way and having those same moments and chances, just wasn't taking them at
Yeah,
that point. But he's learning, man. He's still growing, and if he adds that ruthless streak, like what we're seeing right now,
yeah,
sky's the limit for him, man.
100%, 100%. And big up to everyone that's tuned in. We've got 29 people live with us right now. That is huge number for this channel. So big up to all of you
Jeez, big
that's
up, man.
tuning in, man. And BNB saying Saka man of the match came up with the world class moment that w- that on the game that won us the game, and Ramsdale made save as you would expect. I think you're a bit harsh on Ramsdale, but I do agree that Saka had that world class moment. And if you want, I, I don't have a problem anyone giving him man of the match because I do think he was good. I just felt like today Gabriel was just a rock in defense. But with player ratings, it's preference, and there's no right and wrong. We just say what we believe
There's
is
there's no
fair.
right and wrong, but King is right because it's his channel. Right.
Thank you. Listen to Tariq. He knows what he's talking about. Big up Soul as well. He said big up King. Great 3 point for you guys today. Yeah, and that was the most impressive with the game is that we got the 3 points away from home against a very good Leeds team who were very aggressive, played very well, and yeah. I'm happy with the points, and I'm sure Tariq is as well. You know.
Oh, oh yeah, I'm gassed. And you see how he said he says Kings, right? He said there's an S on the end. So
Yeah, yeah.
so
So both
so
you and me.
yeah, big respect to
True.
your Errol, man.
Yeah,
I like
yeah,
that. Put
yeah.
me in that category. Put him in the category with this great man above me.
Ah, for sure, for sure, for sure. You my guy.
He's to the
You my
side of me
guy.
now. You see, equal.
100%, 100%. I'm on that. I'm on that, man. And yeah, just quickly, what did you make of the Man City Liverpool game? A huge
Oh,
win for Liverpool.
man, this is huge. Because massive win for Liverpool. Liverpool back like when I say they're back, they're not back competing for the title yet. But
Yeah,
I saw it in the Arsenal game in that first half,
yeah,
and even in the second half with that goal, they're not going anywhere. They're definitely in the top four for me, for
yeah,
sure. And there was some massive performances out there. Salah, Van Dijk, Joe
yeah,
Gomez,
yeah, yeah.
Fabinho.
I think I did say after our game that if Liverpool play like this, they're gonna have a good season. And
Yeah.
I know we sometimes fans we love to write teams and players off because it's fun and banter and all of that. But now Liverpool, they are, as you said, they're not back to winning the title, but they're definitely gonna have a strong season. And I can see them go on a long run of winning games from now. They got that statement win. Salah is starting to score again. He had that hat trick in the Champions League as well, and
Mm.
they are finding the balance now in midfield and in the back line as well. So fair play to them and good for us because City dropped points, so gap is
And
now 4 points.
I want to ask you this now, King, right? Because
Yeah,
it's been a while since once again, since we've been streaming together and that.
yeah,
You said this before everybody else, before I heard anyone else say this, right? And this is massive credit to you. And this is talking about big channels, the most popular ones out there, the people that you listen to, Big Six, Sky TV, whatever.
yeah,
This Manchester City defense, they weren't letting these amount of chances, no
yeah,
real control on the game. We can talk a lot about City going forward. That's everybody knows about that. But
yeah.
this defense, it's not it's not Premier League winning defense. I can tell you
No,
that.
and I've said that for a while, and I stand by it because everybody is so fascinated by City's attack and Haaland and Foden and De Bruyne and how many goals and everything that they score, and that's fantastic. But we've seen that before with Liverpool when they had Suarez, Sterling, and what was the other guy name who played for Chelsea before?
Mm,
Sturridge.
yes.
And with that Brendan Rodgers season where attacking wise, it was a Premier League winning side, but in the defense, it wasn't. And I kind of get that vibe from City this season where there's no real control in defense. The defensive structure is not right. And no matter who they play, they don't seem to find the balance. Liverpool should have scored 3 or 4 goals today.
Oh, easily.
I mean, Salah had that chance where he could have just passed to Jota. Nunez had several chances where he could have just passed and
Yeah.
they would have scored. And and City didn't find any momentum to block them. And I've seen that so many times. We saw that when Newcastle scored three against them. We saw that in the Crystal Palace game, even in the Villa game, we saw that. We've seen it multiple times this season, and even Man United scored three against them. Like let's
Mhm.
not forget that. Yes, they were better, and the second half after getting 6-1 up, they kind of slowed down. But still, it's not good. It's too many games where they look like they can concede 3 goals, and
Definitely. Any
that could
half
be,
decent attack.
yeah, 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 yeah. You fancy yourself against them now.
Yeah. I want to ask you this as well.
Yeah,
Um, do you wish that we kind of had them next, or are you happy that we've
yeah,
gone?
100%, 100, because we got that momentum right now. We do. We like momentum is so important in football, yeah.
Yeah.
And We got momentum. We are playing well. The fans, the aura, even decisions and luck, everything is kind of going our way right now. So now is the time before Pep figures something out. Now is the time you want to play them because obviously he's gonna analyze the games. They're gonna look at that. If I can see that they struggle in defense, then he
Yeah.
already knew that like 10 times before me. So they're gonna try and work that out. The question is, do they have the personnel or are they gonna restructure the team? I think the
Mm.
fact that Kevin De Bruyne doesn't really have defensive. Before he used to help a lot in the defense,
Yeah, yeah.
but because he's become older and had more injuries, maybe he's not capable of cover as much ground as he used to do
Mm.
before. Kyle Walker is not there. They had his recovery pace, and City doesn't really have any other defender with recovery pace
Mhm.
in that defense, and he used to be able to bail them out. And I don't know, like Akanji is all right, but I've seen him in Bundesliga. He's good on the ball, but he's not the best out and out defender.
Yeah.
Ake stepped up again. He's not the best out and out defender. Cancelo is probably the best defender going forward with Trent and James, but
Mm.
in defense, again, we
Mm.
saw in that goal, he doesn't like to defend. So, and even Diaz was struggling, and I felt like Diaz, he had that season where he was his first season, he was amazing, Diaz. But I felt like since then he's kind of dropped a bit in his levels, and
Mhm.
he does have shaky moments, and strikers do get the best out of him uh, way too often, I feel. So
Definitely.
that's why I hope Arsenal, if we can just strengthen in January, and nothing is impossible. I'm not saying we're winning the league. A lot can change. We can go on and I know drop points in the next 3, 4 games, and all of a sudden City is like 6, 7 points ahead of. All of that can happen. But
Yeah.
why not just try? City are not invincible. City will lose games. They will.
Definitely, definitely, and this is something that I was mentioning as well of late when there's been a lot of waxing of lyrical of this Manchester City side.
Yeah,
This isn't the complete article, and even just looking from a tactical perspective, you're spot on about De Bruyne not being as deeper because even in that Man United game and today, Bernardo
yeah,
Silva is doing a lot of the defensive work going backwards. Gundogan was also in that midfield. He was staying up very high. He
yeah,
wasn't doing going back a lot, which is what we've seen that he can do. But he's another one like De Bruyne who's struggling, and I think he is still carrying a back injury, which is a lot has been spoken about that, and he's got an ongoing issue there. So
yeah,
the load management is a little bit difficult in Man City, and their
yeah,
squad depth is as similar to us. It comes from versatility, not through numbers. And Man City at the moment, they are just like us. If they lose certain players,
yeah,
it is a problem. Like, but people have a little bit more confidence in Pep to work something out rather
yeah,
than Arteta. I think
yeah,
that's the big reason why a lot of fans say, and non-Arsenal fans, and even Arsenal fans say, "Oh, but if Arsenal lose this player, it's going to
yeah,
be a problem." Not what
yeah,
Arteta has proven. He has proven that he
yeah,
can work with what he's got. Maybe it's taken him a while at points, but he has
yeah,
proven that. Last season coming towards this top four fight, which was
yeah,
still, a top four, if you'd have said at that point at the start of the season, not just for given our start last season, but before a ball was kicked, top
yeah,
four would have been a hard task for us. So I don't know, man. This is a season of proving. And if anything can happen, bro. You are
yeah,
right. And
yeah.
I'm just taking it game by game at the moment.
100%. I just want to speak about Chelsea and Potter before we end the stream. And they won again 2-0 convincingly against Aston Villa. Terrible defending from Mings again. What do you make of Chelsea now? And are they a dark horse?
Chelsea, oh man, this is it. I think you know how much I like Graham Potter and how
Me
he
too.
can and how tactical, versatile he is, and the beautiful football he can play.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say dark horse for a title, because
yeah,
when they will come up against they've had a nice run of fixtures, even in the Champions League, coming up against AC Milan with the injuries that they had, and even without that red card, I just don't think AC Milan are at the level of a lot of that. The current squad in terms of the injuries. Once again,
yeah.
they're
They
not
miss
ready.
Frank Kessie, Milan.
Yeah, exactly. The same AC Milan team that won the league.
Yeah,
So yeah, I do think they can. I think they can take Tottenham's place. I think that you had a poll in your stream yesterday about the top
yeah,
fours. I think if I was to say now, I know it
yeah,
sounds crazy. I'm going City, Arsenal,
yeah,
Chelsea, and Liverpool because Chelsea, with the players that they have, they
yeah.
can scratch out games. They've done it with Tuchel when they're not playing great. We know that, but now he'll start to build something with them. It's a bit worrying, man.
Yeah, I had them third as well, Chelsea. I do think they're gonna have a strong season, and you can tell that they enjoy playing under Potter.
Mm,
Remember I told you before Tuchel got fired that something is wrong in that Chelsea camp, and
yeah,
you feel like once Tuchel was removed, players found a joy again in playing football, and
yeah,
they're gonna have a strong season. It's just how he handled pressures and how he's handled if they get into a title race, how he's gonna deal with it, and still being in Champions League and all of that. It is a long season, but yeah, I can see them finish third. I think fourth. I'm still unsure if it's Tottenham or Liverpool, and
yeah,
it's because I still haven't made my mind up if is Spurs going to start playing well and pick up more points, or the way they're playing, is it gonna caught up with them and they start losing more points? I'm a bit unsure, but I do think the Spurs squad is fragile. I think that if Romero is injured, they have a problem. If Harry
mm,
Kane is injured, they have a problem. In a lot of games, they lack creativity centrally on the pitch. So
yeah,
yeah, yeah, Liverpool
um,
could definitely get that fourth spot. But yeah, what do
yeah.
you make of Spurs quickly before we end?
Spurs, I don't, it's I am trying to take off even not just my Arsenal hat, but how I liked to watch football be played. I'm trying to take all of that off.
Yeah,
They are dangerous. They are a functional team. This is how they will get wins. And I don't think they're actually going to play much better than this, but
yeah,
I don't see there's going to be a drastic change in their results even. But I do think though, when they will hit a sticky patch, that sticky patch will be for longer because of how they play and because their game is so reliant on confidence, not just in themselves but in their manager.
yeah,
Um, because if you're losing, like for example, if you're losing the derby the way that they did,
yeah,
that is awful. Like look at the fans; they even started to question him after that,
yeah,
and they've
yeah.
only had one defeat this season. That sounds in the Premier League. I know they lost to
I mean,
Sporting.
we've been amazing, and we're just 4 points ahead of them. And
Yeah,
as B&B saying, hey, Tottenham has had the best start to a season since 1963, and they're still on top of the league.
I love that VMB. I
Yeah,
love that.
yeah.
But yeah, it's hard. Can you see it really being sustainable for this current Tottenham team though?
No, I think they're gonna need to add something to that team, to that starting 11. I don't think it's gonna be sustainable because when they've faced any kind of decent team, they've
Mm,
not won and they've not looked convinced. Like they should have lost against Chelsea, they got a drew. They lost against us, they could have lost even more. And those are the two top teams they played against. And I feel like when they go against City, Liverpool, uh, they're gonna struggle. Let's see against Man United. That's gonna
that's
be an
it.
interesting game, and it's gonna tell us a lot about both teams where they
Newcastle
are.
as well. Whenever
Newcastle,
they play
yeah,
Newcastle.
yeah. Now Newcastle are a team that people need to look out for.
Yeah.
They're good, and they don't have any European cups or competition to compete in, and yeah,
Yeah, it's a good point, man. And yeah, when Spurs, when they do come up against those sides that do have dangerous attacks, like Man United versus Spurs, and it's an interesting game. Not interesting in terms of how the football
yeah,
that these guys are playing. It's
I know.
interesting who's going to be the pragmatic one in that game.
Yeah, yeah. I still think that Conte will be the more pragmatic one, but you never know. It could be Ten Hag. It's
Yeah.
gonna be interesting to see. And even Man United, I think they got Chelsea again on the weekend, so
Yes.
we might create a bit of a gap soon if results goes our way and we keep on winning.
Exactly. How many games have we got left now until this World Cup break? Is it three more Premier League games?
I think we got Southampton. Is it three or four?
Yeah, we
Let's
got
see. Let's quickly see.
Forest. Yeah, you're right. It's
Yeah,
four.
yeah.
So
Four.
Southampton,
Yeah,
Forest,
yeah,
Chelsea, and Wolves.
yeah. Chelsea. Yeah, and they're all winnable. They
Yeah,
really are. Would be amazing if we could get into that World Cup with only one loss. Even
oh,
if we like draw one game, I mean that would be amazing.
yeah. We don't tend to draw games though. With
No,
Arteta.
and I like this with Arteta. It's like he doesn't want to draw, and I think it's underrated how I think draws are overrated in football.
100%. This is a great conversation.
It's just a point. It's just 1 point more than zero. Where
Draws.
where when
Yeah. I was gonna
if you
say.
win a lot and you lose a few, that's better than winning some, drawing some.
Do you know what, bro? I think Man City have literally shown this. If you draw a game in this league, that's a loss, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And drawing is horrible because man, like Liverpool, didn't Liverpool finish second with one defeat in throughout a whole season?
yeah, exactly. You see,
So that says a lot, man.
yeah, it says
That
a lot.
says a lot into how draws are nothing now. Draws are defeats because
Yeah,
Man City win every game. If Man City don't win, they lose because
yeah,
of how they play. And
how
we've
they
got to
play.
get to that level. By however we try and do it, we're not going to get to that level the same way they have, but
Yeah,
we are at that level, man, right now. Who Man City, they're not today, 10 games in, they've not
yeah.
played the best football in the league.
No, and don't let the pundits fool you. They tell you that they have played the best football and that they are amazing. No, they haven't. They
Mhm.
have amazing individual moments in games. They have players like your De Bruyne's, your Foden's, your Haaland, who wins you games, who have certain moments in games where they show their brilliance. But as a team, they haven't really kicked on yet, and
No,
they usually don't really start kicking on until this period. So it's gonna be interesting to see now if this World Cup could be a problem for them because they'll kick on and then there's a big break and then they're gonna have to kick on, but now it's gonna be lots of games and they are
exactly.
gonna go for all competitions.
And do you know what, bro? I wanted to have a little moan about this. This is the like I wanted to say this because Gary Neville, right? He was
Yeah,
talking earlier on. He
yeah,
said that he expects Arsenal to be where Manchester United and Newcastle are. But the one
yeah,
point that really annoyed me, really did, he said, "Oh, Man City lost to Liverpool at Anfield. It's a freak." But we 110% know, right? If Arsenal went to Anfield and we lost the exact same way,
yeah,
uh, Arsenal don't quite have that character to go to Anfield when Anfield aren't at their greatest. They're at their probably most vulnerable, and
yeah.
Arsenal just can't go over the line in character. You know that then this is why they can't do it. You don't hear that from Manchester City though.
No, but this is why I rate Mitchell Richards as a pundit, and I don't rate Gary Neville anymore as a pundit because he's just lost his way. He's no longer professional. His takes on teams and the game is so poorly, and his statements are so biased. Like,
Yeah,
forget that you don't like Arsenal. Forget that they were your rivals. You are getting paid to give us professional views and takes on football, and do that or step away because you rob us from good tactical breakdowns on teams, because you just can't be unbiased. And I think it's sad, because I used to have a lot of time for Gary Neville, but the past few years he's just lost it, honestly.
Spot on, bro. Spot on. And big up each, big up B&B and Luke in the chat, man. They're spitting facts, man. They're
Yeah,
spitting
yeah,
facts.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We love this. Spurs is forever in our shadows.
And B&B said the next two fixtures in for
Yeah,
Spurs, Man United and Newcastle. That's this after those games, King.
yeah,
We'll have to
yeah,
do a
yeah.
show, whether it's on my channel or yours, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
where
we
I
can
can
do something
really
after
dissect
that
them.
where we break down the season, the teams, and put our thoughts in, because I think after that Chelsea would had a few uh, tough games as well, and
Mm,
yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, and also how Man City bounce back after a loss. It's going to be interesting to see, and if Liverpool can continue to win games.
exactly. But yeah, like when the world just when that World Cup we're about to enter that, that's when we
Yeah,
should probably do something saying, right,
yeah,
like a predictions then.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like,
I hear that. I hear that, man.
because we're over a quarter of the way through the season already in the Premier League, and we're
Yeah,
Arsenal
but people
four
don't want
points
to
clear.
say that because Arsenal are top, you know. So it's like
It's true,
people.
bro.
The problem is, I feel sometimes, Tariq, when we talk about football, like people look too much into the past. So
Mm,
if Arsenal been a team that have been bottlers in the past, yeah, then they're just gonna bottle it. They're not good enough, blah blah blah. But people forget that Liverpool used to be that team, and then they became winners. Man City used to be that team, then they become winners. Like Chelsea used to be that team, then become like at some point you've been a team that didn't win, and then you become a team that does win. So like
yeah,
give each season, look at the team on how they're playing that season. That's what matters, not what they
ex-
did in the past. That's
but
history.
do you know what the maddest? Do you know what the maddest part is though? Those same
Yeah.
fans that will say that will turn around and say, "Oh no, but Spurs they can win a trophy."
Yeah, yeah, I know. It's funny. It's the same fans who will tell you, no, but Spurs can win a trophy, and you tell them why. It's Conte, but okay, but they had Mourinho, they had prime Bale, they had prime Van der Vaart, they had Modric, like
Yeah,
they had Son and Kane in their prime, breaking all this record. Like they've had fantastic teams, players, managers, opportunities,
yeah,
but they never won anything. But Arsenal,
exactly.
who've been a winning team in the past, who kept on winning these FA Cups. No, Arsenal can't turn it around and be a serious team.
For real. And even before we won those FA Cups, do you remember? Like before we won that FA Cup against Hull, oh
Yeah,
Arsenal, they can't win a trophy. They
yeah,
can't even
yeah,
win an FA Cup. But now,
yeah.
oh, let's not count the FA Cup.
No,
They,
no, no. Let's not
these
count them.
goalposts that move. We are a massive club. We are hated by a lot of rival fans. We have to take it.
Yeah,
There's no context. There's all agendas. They're hypocrites.
that's it. That's it. But that's why I appreciate the moment and I live in this moment, because
Spot
it's
on.
not a given, and we just have to enjoy the ride as long as it runs.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But
You've ended it
T,
on a high note, bro.
where can people find you?
Hey, people, you can find me backing Gabriel all day long. Look at Rob Holding there. You basically put my face there. I'm there for Gabriel. Nah, but you can find me on Tariq Talks, people. Got the Arsenal show coming tomorrow. I need to chat to my brother King right now after the stream. I ain't gonna ask him right now live. Yeah, I mean people, but yeah, um, I've kind of have, but I kind of
Yeah,
haven't.
yeah, yeah. No, that's fine.
I put him on the spot. But yeah, you can find me on Tariq Talks. But massive honor to be back here with my brother King, man. I always love talking football with him. It's like we have a very similar minds in how we want football, how we see life. We always try and look on the bright side, but also be very realistic as well. So yeah, man. You can find a lot of King on my channel as well, co-host on the Arsenal show. Big up my brother each and every time.
Hey, big up T, man. It was great to have you back on the channel. It was great to talk ball with you again. It's been way too long, and
Yep.
I've missed having this chat with you. Honestly, it's one of those things that I actually missed, and I'm glad that it's back. And yeah, you guys make sure that you do subscribe to Tariq's channel. I've put the link in the description as well,
Thank you.
so you can just press it very easily. And make sure you tune in tomorrow. I don't know what time, but if you've subscribed, you will get the notification. Tomorrow we're gonna talk Arsenal, and you will most likely find
Yee!
me there as well.
Hey,
So yeah, I said it.
confirmation, sign the
I said
contract.
it. And as tradition, before we end the stream, guys, as long as we can, we just have to run it.
Baby, where is the remote?
Remote?
Yes.
Arsenal.
What do you mean by Arsenal?
On top of the table.